Now, I want to make one thing crystal clear here. As Bitcoin continues to fall and people continue to sell, we have to recognize that Bitcoin is down almost 40% from its all-time high. And for whatever reason, people continue to feel comfortable selling Bitcoin low and buying it high. You've probably heard that a million times before, but it continues to happen and people continue to feel safer selling something at a lower valuation and more comfortable buying it at a higher one. Again, right now, Bitcoin is down almost 40% from its all-time high. We're going to do a technical analysis here, break down Bitcoin on both the 1-day and the 3-day to better understand what's happening on all of the macros, because there is still a lot of support here and you need to be paying attention to it. I'm a big advocate of obviously investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and I am personally continuing to buy the dips. And despite Bitcoin breaking the 200 EMA on this daily chart, I want to break down why I'm still buying it, and I plan to continue to buy it as it falls towards the downside here. So if that interests you, make sure you stick around for the video, and let's go ahead and just kind of dive on into this one. Again, another very red day. I'm repping the red as well, but another very red day in the world of cryptocurrency as we continue to see prices fall from our all-time high and of course our local high. As this has been falling, I want to measure one thing out here. The name of the game here is let's look at things from a bird's eye view. Bitcoin is almost down 40%. Right now we're down about 38% from our all-time high. What this means is that if Bitcoin is able to retrace from where we are currently at back to all-time highs, you would make 61% if you were to buy right now and Bitcoin was to just return to all-time highs. Now, a lot of people, I would say the very same people that are selling here, believe that at one point Bitcoin will hit a higher valuation than its previous high of $64,000/$65,000. I, for one, am very confident in the future that it's only a matter of time until this happens. But let's make the argument that Bitcoin will only return to half of its all-time high, maybe even halfway to our local high. That's still going to be roughly 20%. Now, after Bitcoin fell out of this rising wedge that we had over here, as I'm pulling things out of the side, Bitcoin saw a pretty fast breakdown. We broke this on a daily time scale. We can look at this on a 4-hour as well. But as soon as Bitcoin broke here and the EMAs no longer held, it was a pretty fast downside tank from Bitcoin. We saw a little bit consolidation earlier in the day, but the big thing that I'm watching out here is for this daily RSI, which I want to make sure everybody sees. So as we pull back and we take a look at what's happening on this RSI, there has been a multi-year trend line, and I could make an entire video about just this topic, but I want to make sure that it's included into this one, probably include it into the next one. But as Bitcoin goes here, we can see that there is a multi-year trend line that's been happening on the RSI since 2018. Now, we saw it initially bottom out at the end of 2018. We've been seeing it in this upwards pattern ever since then, and it looks like we're headed to retest this and restart what would look to be the next bull run. So we have a couple of ways that I've kind of drawn this out and looked at this. We have this first one, which for a while was kind of showing when the micro bottoms would be in, and then we have the second one showing where the macro bottoms would be and where these would be in. Right now, we are at the very last area of this micro bottom, so if this is going to be a temporary bottom, we're going to have to bottom out right now, and it's only a matter of time until we can see that. If we're looking for the next macro bottom, potentially the bottom of 2021 and kind of jettisoning us into 2022, it's going to have to happen a little bit lower on this chart, and that's okay. That would be perfectly healthy and historically accurate for Bitcoin. So if that was to happen, I would imagine Bitcoin gets around 25, 26 on the RSI, somewhere around this region. Right in here, it would ultimately bottom out in this oversold territory, and then we'd see exactly what we've seen in the past. And I kind of want to, let's zoom out here and highlight this, but we can see that right before, as we zoom out a little bit more, when we see the bottoms in this RSI happen, which stands for the Relative Strength Index, that's when we're seeing the biggest movements in Bitcoin, is when we're seeing these bottoms, going again all the way back to 2017. And even 2018. When we see these things bottom, obviously these have presented us with some of the best buying opportunities for Bitcoin. I'm going to zoom back in here because we are just still very zoomed out. I've been seeing a popular theory go around right now that people believe that we are going back to the previous highs of 2018, which will now make room for the local bottom, which is, well, number one, it would be scary, right? But it would be interesting, to say the least. It wouldn't be completely out of the question, but there is still some major support that Bitcoin would have to break through in order to get down there. Number one, we're at a pretty significant support right now. The previous top of this range, and I lost my drawing tool, the previous top of this range, which is now being used as support, it makes complete sense. And also, if we want to zoom out just a little bit more to this 3-day chart, we can see that this 100 EMA, which is the blue line, the blue band, is also being used as a support line bouncing off of Bitcoin. Now, for whatever reason, the 100 EMA on the 4-hour, the 1-day, and the 3-day has just been beautiful for Bitcoin for most of 2021 so far, especially the summer moving into the fall. It has just been a beautiful and accurate tool for the most part when measuring where Bitcoin can bottom out or potentially even see resistance. Haven't really used it a lot to look at the RSI, but we can see the same thing forming over here. In fact, if we're looking at this bottom, this is going to show us even better than the 1-day of just how strong this trend line has been going all the way back into 2018. Of course, bottoming out ultimately, second, and then our third touch point. If I'm looking for a fourth touch point here and an ultimate bottom, I'd like to see Bitcoin really try to stay above this 40 zone on the 3-day relative strength index. And if it can do that, I don't see why it can't have a very strong rally to the upside. Now, on the flip side of this, if we are following this 3-day trend, we could see a bull run like we have never seen before. Now, can we realistically get this high on the relative strength index of 100 on a 3-day chart? I don't know. We have never done it before. That doesn't mean that we can't do it, period. Right, we are seeing economic instability like we've never seen before, especially with all the I might pronounce this the wrong way, but with all the Evergrande stuff happening over in China, something that is, I think, $300 billion in liabilities right now, just a ridiculous amount of money that they looks like they're going bankrupt with. It is not impossible to see a lot of people's fear from fiat and instability come into Bitcoin, where there is a sense of stability and, again, people just wanting to get away from centralized markets. I don't understand how that situation affects crypto. I understand people are trying to get safe and trying to get cash here when they are in need of it. So, again, that makes sense, but I still think that there's no reason for cryptocurrency to be selling off nearly as much as we are. Now, we're also going to be covering the Evergrande video. I'll probably put a card up to that right here if it's up by the time that I make this video. But again, looking back at Bitcoin, I said this at the beginning of the video, and I'll continue to say it. The very same people who are so bullish on cryptocurrency and firmly believe it's the future, you have those very same people, and I'm going to call some people out, who refuse to buy cryptocurrency when it is down over 40, 50, 60% from its all-time high. Again, they long-term believe in these projects, but they feel safer buying something when it's high and extended. And I don't want to say overvalued because I don't think it is overvalued. But when it's down and it's at a discount and you're saying buy one get one free, you're saying something has to be wrong with it. I'll wait till it's back up 30-40% from here. Once it's maybe halfway back to its all-time highs, once it's back at all-time highs, I'll buy back in. I just never understood the model. I firmly believe that if you believe in something long-term, then you will buy the dip on it. But again, nothing I say here is legal, financial, or tax advice in any way. Don't take it as such. Simply just my reasoning here. I have been buying Bitcoin around 40,000. I will continue to buy Bitcoin around 40,000 and below, as I see it as a great buying opportunity. I will layer into some altcoins. I do want to accumulate some altcoins. I fully understand that Bitcoin can fall more from here pretty violently. So with that being said, I am being conservative with how I'm purchasing my altcoins. I'm not going out and purchasing mass amounts of altcoins right now. I'm buying mainly like Bitcoin, Ethereum, top top 5, maybe top 10 cryptocurrencies for the most part, and then sprinkling in a few smaller buy orders for things that are below like the top 10 of cryptos, just so I can kind of accumulate my bag, mitigate risk. And that's the way that I like to play this. But that's going to go ahead and round off this video. I hope you all did enjoy. This has just been my half rant, half technical analysis look at what's happening in Bitcoin right now, the RSI, the support levels that we have, and hopefully you did enjoy it. We have more videos to come. We're going to get that Evergrande video out here fairly soon, if it's not already up. So stay tuned. If you did like this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. We have a lot more content like this coming out in the not so distant future, and we're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you commented, smack that like button, and I will see all of you in the next video.